Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, and welcome to a visual edition of the Addicted to Social Media podcast. I'm Neil Weiser.
I'm Seth Goldstein.
And I'm Jody Raines.
And for those of you who are watching this video, we are finally, after many episodes of talking about finally getting on video, Google Plus has enabled us to actually do it a little bit easier than Skype.
Well, a little hacking involved.
With a little hacking involved.
Yes,
so we are in a Google Hangout, and I hope we're not too scary.
Or too overmodulated. I'm sure I am right now, actually. I apologize.
Seth, you look like you're drowning, though.
Yeah, but this is an initial.
We're trying this out. So if this podcast sucks, excuse us. We're trying this out. I'm using Screencast-O-Matic to record it. But what I'm doing is I have my microphone, my snowball mic over here, and it's recording off the speakers in my office. These two guys. And myself, so I'm coming out really loud. It's an imperfect thing, but bear with us. We're gonna try it.
We'll give it a shot. We didn't get the studio built yet, so we'll just have to deal with.
We're not twit. We don't.
Office suites.
Exactly. See. Yeah. I like your.
Look at mine.
I like your painting, Jody.
Thank you.
All right. So anyhow,
let's jump into the conversation because this is really why people have tuned in. I hope.
Hopefully.
No, they just tuned in to see us.
Well, to see you, maybe.
Yeah. We'll just keep the picture on Jody the whole time.
You're right. Okay. All right. Well, let's why don't we start off since we have Google to thank for this one. Let's start off a little bit about talking about Google.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So there are a couple of things happening in the Google Plus universe aside from some video chat that we're doing. And I guess the first thing is that it looks like that Google Plus is finally going to be allowing games in at some point in the future, to my horror and chagrin.
But what it looks like it's going to happen is they're going to actually let them in, but they're going to have it on a separate stream. So you won't actually have to see it unless you want to see the games.
So it'll be like a different channel?
A different channel, a different circle, a different... I mean it's...
Ooh,
yes.
That's an interesting thing. Different channels.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea.
Little lipo.
Seriously, that's the first time I heard that. I like that.
Yeah, so that's... But then also it's going to kind of hit Facebook in the pocketbook. So that's going to be interesting.
Well, it depends. I mean, Facebook is benefiting from the fact that they've got hundreds of millions of users. I mean, it's going to be a while before Google ramps up to that point.
I don't know. I mean, that's one of our other stories, which we must go right to that, is that Facebook and Twitter took 2 years each to get to 10 million. Google is in its first month, and it's at 20 million. And it's in the closed beta. Which we have to remember that if this isn't working correctly, it took Jody a half an hour to get into the Hangout. So it's very much beta.
All my fault.
It's all your fault,
It's
Jody.
all my fault.
We'll forgive you.
But how Facebook is making its money, though, at least through the games, it's still very much dependent on volume, and a large portion of those people who are currently using Google Plus, I'm not saying that a lot of them wouldn't use games, but it certainly wouldn't rise to the level of Facebook's model.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that it will... I think there'll be a place for everything, honestly. So.
You know what? That's an interesting thing that you said, Seth, and I'll explain why. When you say there's a place for everything, what I've discovered is that I keep going to different medias for different purposes. I go to Facebook because most of the people that I know in real life and that I'm friends with are still on there. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have not made it yet to Google Plus, and I find that it's still important to go back there. I also find that it's still important to go to Twitter because some of my Twitter friends, that's the only place where I talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen this merging yet, where everything can be done in one place.
Yeah.
Or is it a completely different thing?
Well, it's not going to happen through Facebook or through Google. It's going to happen through third-party applications like TweetDeck, which I don't think is going to actually have Google Plus integration based on our friend Richard Barley's comments made last week. Because I just basically tweeted him a quick question about when are we going to get this, because you've got Google Buzz on TweetDeck. And he kind of had a little bit of
It's hard to hear you, Neil.
Can you hear me, Seth?
I can hear you. You're coming through fine. Jody, just listen really carefully, because otherwise Neil starts booming and he starts overmodulating.
It's my over-authoritative voice.
He's a very deep voice.
So, but my point is that he just made a weird comment back to me that basically implied that they're not going to be doing it, which is unusual because they've got Google Buzz in there. So, and I don't know why they wouldn't want it to be the platform to access everything else as well. But that's Twitter for you.
Yeah, Twitter's
Well,
Twitter.
I'm using a Chrome extension that Seth, I think were you the one who told me about this one?
Which one was it?
It integrates so you can look at your Twitter stream, or you can
Yeah, it's Start Plus, Start G Plus, or something like that. Yeah.
And it works pretty well. Now, here's the thing, though. A lot of people, when you were able to integrate all three, they got this great idea that they should use LinkedIn for their Twitter stream.
No, not a good idea.
It doesn't work. Okay. They used Facebook for their Twitter stream, and what did you wind up doing? You closed them off. And I think we're going to go through that same period where a lot of people aren't going to understand that you've got different audiences for each of these.
Exactly, and you have to keep that in mind.
Use for different reasons.
Totally.
Well, wait a minute. What are you guys using Plus for now, as opposed to
longer form? I'm using it for longer form tweets. Stuff that I would normally tweet about, but I tweet multiple times to tweet out a rant. Whereas now I just wrote a rant about our debt crisis in the United States. And I said, pardon me, you're welcome to unfollow me, but here's my rant. And so essentially it was a blog post somewhat, but it was a blog post that belonged on Google+. I also have a trick for getting your stuff to Posterous. So I have all my Google Plus things that I want to go to Posterous or Evernote automatically emailing themselves to Evernote or Posterous to be posted. So I can blog through. Use your Posterous, like your screen name at posterous.com. Make that in a circle, and then that works that way. And same thing with Evernote. So if someone posts a really neat post in Google Plus, you can share it with your Evernote and keep it forever and cherish it.
See, now that's the thing that you should do, Seth, because you're really good with integrating all these things together.
Yeah, that's what I specialize in.
I know, but that's where you should be doing a class, I think.
Well, I'm going to do a class in
that. Class.
Well, we're gonna get to my class I'm teaching up in Doylestown soon, but I am teaching a class in social media privacy. That's just the first one. They met with me and they said, well, we want you to do a class, and that's the first thing that popped off the top of my head. So, not the first, because I'm losing a lot of hair, but it's. But it's, I
wouldn't know if you weren't watching video.
Exactly, Neil's got good hair right here.
I got the hair.
Julie's got a good coif, so.
I know, and that's the weird thing too about the video part of this, because do you dress up for the podcast?
Exactly.
Or do you just come as you are?
I'm coming as I am. I mean, don't come in your birthday suit. That would be interesting.
Please don't tilt the camera down any further.
Yeah. Are you wearing shorts? Okay, so let's talk about the fact that Google Plus,
yes,
profiles, because I don't know, do we have that, the business pages in Google Plus?
Yeah, they are coming.
Well, some people jumped the gun, didn't they?
And they got kicked off. And some people also with their names. I mean, Bradley Horowitz, who's the VP of Google Plus, they're going to start giving people more of a warning than just kicking them off. But what they originally were doing was, if you had, there's a science podcaster named Dr. Kiki. Her name's really Kirsten Stanford, and she goes by Dr. Kiki. So you would think, all right, she goes by Dr. Kiki, that's her stage name that she wants to go by. Google's like, no, you have to go by Kirsten Stanford. So she got booted off. Yeah, and a lot of other people did that as well, but only off of Google Plus and Google Reader, which is attached to Google Plus. So, I mean,
what do you think about that?
I think they're trying to figure it out, and I think what people forget is that they're still fine tuning things, meaning that they're going to try a rollout, and if it's that much of a backlash, they'll back it out. They can still do it. We're still in a closed beta.
Go ahead, Neil.
Well, there is the backlash because look, people do have these professional names, and I mean, one of the things that allowed Twitter to grow as fast as it did was that you had a lot of celebrities on there who, many of whom don't have use real names, or at least their true names. I mean, there's Lady Gaga.
Or a snarty Bart fart.
What?
Anyway, yeah, whatever. So
no, that's from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
So anyway, or like someone like Tom Cruise, for example, and that's not his real name. So
it isn't? Was it Jon Stewart? No.
It's John Mapafor, I think it is.
What, John Hawthorne?
Mapafor. Something like that. But the point is that, it should allow for nicknames, and really all they need to do is add it.
Well, they do. Down below they have nicknames.
On where?
On your profile, it says other names.
Well, then they just need to link that through to however the names show up, and then it's a problem solved.
They'll figure it out. I mean, the fact is that this is not very. Why is Jody on the screen right now?
Do I look good?
Seth is getting too easily distracted.
Squirrel.
Moving on.
Maybe they felt bad for me because they felt like you weren't letting me talk or something.
Well, this is kind of good. We can just turn on Jody and have her talk. But the funny thing is, since I'm hosting the Hangout, I never come up. I have to click on myself to have my picture come up.
You're coming up all the time on mine. I'm not coming up at all.
Yeah, because you don't come up on your own screen.
Because I am me.
You can come up on your own screen. You just have to click on yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounded bad, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, you click on yourself all the time.
If you click on yourself, then you only see you?
But then you can click around with the mouse cursor and move it around.
Wow.
Yeah, this is really thrilling.
Just like double click on yourself and work somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, all I know is that this is all done through a screen capturing program. So you're gonna see my cursor on the screen clicking around.
Oh, no.
It's
okay,
imperfect.
So
Yeah.
Guys,
Focus.
so talking about the profiles, okay?
Yes.
What is this? More than 2/3 of Google Plus activities private.
Well, I mean, what they're saying is that, and it's not a bad thing. They're saying is that everyone's putting things in circles, which they're supposed to do. They're not putting things out in public. And that's the whole idea, is not to put things out in public.
To the circle, right?
Exactly. Or not even just that. A lot of times I'll post. I don't post to just a circle. I'll post to my circles. A lot of things I want to share, I just want to share. I don't want to say, like, tech geeks want to see this, because this is a general post. Yeah. I mean, I have the geek goddesses, which Neil, you're not part of. All the women.
Am I in the Geek Goddess group?
Oh, you're on top of the Geek Goddess group.
I hope I'm not in the Geek Goddess group.
You're in the Geek Dork group, but that works.
Oh, thanks.
Anytime.
So anyway, who's using Google Plus and how often?
I'm using it all the time. I'm obsessed. My wife's like, "Are you gonna come down anytime soon at night?" And I'm like, "In a few more minutes, I'm gonna hang out."
What?
What about you, Neil? Are you using it a lot?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear all that.
Are you using it?
Google Plus a lot.
Oh, am I using Google Plus a lot? I'm trying to use it more. I really like it. It's just I keep kind of forgetting to go there, and I'm still playing around with how my circles are set up because I wind up just jumping into the mainstream, which I can't stand because there's a lot of people there tweeting about Google and whatever about stuff. Plussing about things that aren't relevant, that I don't care about, or just too much stuff in general. And so I'm making more use of it. Also, I have a little bit of a technical limitation. My primary computer, which is not this one, it doesn't run. It's weird. This is an old notebook I have. It runs Vista, yet I can do Hangouts on my primary computer, which runs Windows 7. Doesn't do Hangouts.
So anyhow, moving on.
Interesting. And I posted this in Google Plus, and I'll have to add it to the show notes. Christopher Penn had a very interesting observation, and what he was talking about was putting people in his circle that actually were engaged with him and perhaps shared or retweeted or otherwise
somehow interacted with him. Right?
Exactly, and he made a whole circle of those people. And they are separate from the rest of the audience.
But that's the thing; they're not separate though. They're not separate. I mean, if you look at your mainstream, everybody's in there.
Mainstream, but you don't have to look at the mainstream.
I know, but I generally look
at that stream.
Yeah, I know, but
let's say I think it makes a lot of sense though. But philosophically, let's say that you make a circle of the people who are engaged with you and who are helping you to get your message out. Okay?
Yes.
Then you in turn are engaging with them, so you're helping them get their message out. That is separate from the rest of the world.
And I actually have that.
Makes a lot of sense.
I actually have two circles like that. I have plussers, which doesn't sound good. I have plussers, and then I also have hangout peeps. So everybody who I meet in a hangout, I follow or circle.
You're hanging out way too much, Seth.
Actually, I'm not. Every once in a while, I'm still trying to get into a Trey Radcliffe hangout, but I'm always like 2 seconds too late. I feel like I'm on a call-in show on a radio show. Like you have to like dial now, be caller number 45 to get the prize, and you never get it because the phone's always busy. But there isn't. Well, actually, I do have a plugin that I was actually in a Hangout where they were developing it in the Hangout. It's an auto redial for Hangouts.
What does this mean, though? This thing about Google Plus deleting accounts en masse. What's
That's exactly what they're doing is they're finding people that are not following the name conventions that they want, and they're deleting a lot of people for not using pseudonyms, not using their full name, and we just talked about that. So,
Yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know there was more to that. Because honestly, there have been a lot of. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. Initially, when I came on, it seemed like everybody was genuine. Okay, now I find there's a lot of people that are signed up. They don't have any circles that they belong to. They're, that little notification that they want to share with you. So before I add them now, I'm becoming a lot more selective. I'm going in, I'm looking to see what kinds of things they're talking about. I have this one guy, all he does is repeat other people. It's like automated or something. I don't think he's even a real person.
No, you can't automate. You can't automate Google Plus yet because it's all API. There's no API yet, so you can't automate it yet. I guess you can sort of. You can automate some functions. So.
Okay. It seems like he is, but anyway.
But moving on, I know people hate that term, but moving on, Google Plus is getting business profiles, which is going to include analytics and a lot of other goodies. But let's move on to Facebook.
Oh, before we move on to Facebook, just a quick question.
And that's your thumbs up sign.
Have either of you heard anything about the Google Plus comments being Googleable?
They are. They're outside searchable. If they're made public, only if they're made public. If they're not made public, they're not searchable.
Cool. All right, that was my question. Facebook.
On the Facebook, there's a Facebook glitch that reveals thumbnails and descriptions of friends' private videos. Let's go to our resident Facebook castrator.
Castrator?
Yeah, sorry.
Is that you?
Yeah, poor choice of words.
Who's the Facebook castrator?
Neil.
What? Neil, did you know that?
That I'm a castrator?
Oh, let's move on.
Seth?
Sorry, I tried. Move on.
Neil, is there a way we can he's recording it? All right, so here's what I understand about that whole thing.
Oh, I guess we're talking to Jody, not Neil, so I'll change the picture. All right, Jody, talk.
What happened was you were able to see that somebody had videos, but you weren't necessarily able to see what the videos were if you were not included in the visibility.
But you can still see thumbnails.
You can still see that they were there. So the dilemma would be, let's say that you are connected on Facebook with your boss, okay? You always say, don't connect with your boss. But let's say you're connected with your boss and you called in sick on Friday, but then you went to a party and now there's a video
of you topless.
Well, it was not the whole video, Seth. It's just like the little...
The one thumbnail is of you topless.
But speak for yourself, okay? Come on.
You want to see me topless. Anyhow.
Come on, Seth.
Okay, moving on. Heads in the gutter.
Right. But anyway, the point being that they found the glitch, they fixed it, and then they announced that it was fixed without announcing that there was a glitch.
Well, that's not
good.
good.
It's a smart way to handle it. So.
It is. I mean, and for once, I think Facebook did it right, actually.
Yeah, that's probably an accident.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to come up with like a really cool way of crunching Google and Facebook and Twitter into something like one word.
Google Face Twitter.
Anyway.
Anyhow.
What's the deal? I'm excited about this Netflix integration coming to Facebook.
But are you gonna really watch Netflix in Facebook?
I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan is to get people talking during the program, and just increases the amount of dwell time that they're going to have being on the site.
But can you do that already?
That's interesting.
Can you already say I'm watching this?
You have an application that you do it with.
Or isn't that what Get Glue is? You kind of say I'm watching this show, you check in with the show, and you start talking about it. I mean.
Yeah, but think about how, for example, YouTube has advertising over the video. Those little, I don't even know what they're called. Those little pop-ups that obscure the bottom of the video. I mean, if you put Netflix programming in there, this gives Facebook an opportunity to do the same thing and collect revenue off of that.
It does, but who's going to sit at our computer watching a movie?
A lot of people.
Or home theater PC, maybe? I don't know.
I mean, think about the reason that Netflix streaming has been taking off prior to the iPad coming out.
That's true.
It was still good. Same with Hulu.
I've done that.
Done what?
Watched a movie on my computer.
Yeah. All right.
But the
I've
way
done that.
she's saying it makes me wonder what kind of movie she was watching.
Oh, stop.
God, our heads are in the
No, I do
gutter.
it because my Netflix is hooked up to my computer downstairs. That's why. And if I'm upstairs in the bedroom, I can't, you know.
So she says. Anyhow, did you know that?
That's what she said.
That's what she said, exactly. Between the sheets.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Okay, so anyway.
Anyway, moving on.
Previews.
Link previews, which is good. I mean, it's sort of like what TweetDeck did with Twitter previews of short URLs. What?
Also, Google, the way that they have.
You can preview, yes. Well, yeah, link previews are coming to Facebook comments, which is good because comments are all over the web now. TechCrunch uses a bunch of different sites use Facebook comments, so if they're adding that feature in, that'll be great.
But you know what else it does?
What?
It keeps people from leaving Facebook.
Spot on, buddy.
It'll drastically
Plus
reduce the
one.
number of people who
I
are
don't
clicking
think
on
I don't think that necessarily they're used for the same thing. I mean, I keep coming back to, you know, where are people hanging out and what are they using it for? And I think Facebook is going to survive.
They're hanging out in Google Hangouts.
I'm not even gonna respond to that.
All right.
Facebook will survive, but the point is it keeps more people on Facebook longer. They'll be able to preview articles without actually having to leave Facebook. A lot of people who leave Facebook don't come back. They say, okay, I got to do something else or what have you.
Yeah, I finally break myself from the spell. But you know, interestingly enough, I think that a lot of this competition is a good thing because some of these changes are perhaps a result of the fact that now there's competition.
Exactly, that's a good thing. And also because of that, you know, Neil, a few episodes ago, Neil was squawking about this facial recognition thing in the galleries. You squeak.
I was a fellow squawker.
You were squeaking. It's different.
What about the facial recognition?
Apparently now they're putting an ad out on their service saying, "Here's how you turn it off."
Haha.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing that they're doing that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's neat. So
yeah, so we'll put a link to that in the show notes, and everyone should check it out. And just to remind you, this has to do with the pictures that people are posting. Facebook.
Even if they're not tagged.
Even if they're not tagged, Facebook is running facial recognition software, which potentially identified you as and your name will pop up. It just creates a whole other privacy issue.
Exactly. All right, let's move on to Twitter.
Well, you know, hey, wait. To move on to Twitter, I just want to say something. Do you guys feel the same as I do? I go into Twitter now, and it feels so ancient.
It feels like an ADD child, like me.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about. It does feel bland. Because there's it's not a feature-rich service anymore. Twitter overnight has become a second, dare I say it, a second-rate service.
Not second-rate. I wouldn't go that far to say second-rate. I think it's really good at what they do.
Yes, I was just about to say that. It is excellent at what it does, but it does not have anything that even comes close to matching the features of the other services.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does it need it? Some of it does, and that's why they're incorporating photos, why they're incorporating video, doing other things as well. It really does need some additional features, but does it need everything, for example, that Facebook and Google Plus has? No, it doesn't. It is.
No, because then it would be Facebook or Google Plus.
Exactly.
Here's the thing.
Yeah, Drew.
Here's my take on it. I like Twitter because it is a fast broadcast vehicle. Mm-hmm. So when something's happening on the other side of the world, there's a tsunami, there's a hurricane, there's a plane crash, or anything, a celebrity who's passed away suddenly and unexpectedly, these things bubble up so quickly that you can get that information. And I think from the standpoint of being like a media device and getting that information quickly, I don't think there's any way to beat it. The downside of Twitter is that there have been so many of these bots and these affiliates and people just bastardizing it, trying to use it as a broadcast media, and trying to accumulate followers without using it in a way that adds value. And I think that's
I get spam all the time.
Frustration. Well, it's spam. It's more than that. I get what I get now? I get these things that say this person said something bad about you on their blog, or you won't believe what this person said about you. Kind of, I get those things.
That's spam.
Oh, of course it's spam. Either that or somebody actually said something bad.
it's also people trying to get you to click on links because it's sending you to either a link farm or some place where you're for malware.
Right, exactly, and I refuse to click on them. But in any case, what I like about Twitter, and I don't want it to be the same as Google Plus, and I don't want it to be the same as Facebook. What I like about it is the expediency of getting the information, and I also like the fact that it's so concise, and I think that that's where it has a competitive advantage. The problem, I mean, I love Google Plus. Right now, Google Plus, it's kind of a joke. Everybody talks about Google Plus. You know, it's like, what else do you talk about?
You don't mention Google
now?
Plus. You don't mention
You know?
Google Plus and Google Plus.
Well, it's the hot new service.
Exactly.
Oh, right.
Well, let's move on because we have to.
He's talking about Google Plus.
Yeah, we have to move on because Neil has a hard stop 2 minutes ago. So,
yeah, so
let's keep on moving on here. Twitter is sidestepping its own rules on list features. Neil, do you want to explain that?
Twitter sidestepping. Oh, I'm sorry. In the wrong part of the script. Yeah, so basically, someone did a little bit of study. A friend of ours, I'm going to call it the article that is in front of me.
Way to be prepared, Neil.
Redirecting. So I can only have fewer than 100 tabs open at any one time. So.
Was it Michael Weberberger?
No.
No, but thank you to Michael Weberberger for writing lots of posts.
Hey, Michael, maybe we can get him on.
No, that's the whole idea. That's the reason why I want to do these hangouts, is we can have our fans come in and interact with us, and they can be even more of a giant crazed lunacy that it isn't already right now. This is a disaster, but it's
Okay.
the first time.
I don't think it's a disaster.
We haven't seen the recording yet.
Yeah, so it was actually a chart created by a friend of ours, Michael Ubilla, on this blog post. He didn't actually write the post, though. Marshall Kirkpatrick wrote the post.
Mm-hmm.
But basically what he's talking about is that the number of lists, and this is interesting because this is something that I actually didn't know. I'll have to check to see how many lists I have because I thought I had seeded this. Apparently, you can only have 20 lists per account.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I've hit that.
Really?
I've hit that.
Which I did not actually know about. Maybe I have like 18 or 19. I thought I had more than 20.
I didn't know.
But the lists can also
I
contain
have.
more than 500 members. Now, the article was
Oh, that pisses
about
me
was
off.
the fact that some people appear to have, I actually did read the article. Didn't really seem to have confirmation of this, but it's not strong confirmation. But some people seem to have more than 20 lists or more than 545 members.
Favoritism.
But it's not that. No, it's not that. What it is you can follow more lists. Like if I'm following Neil Weiser's lists, it seems like that was supposed to be counted towards your quota, but it isn't.
No, that's not the point. The point is that the point of the whole article is that there seems to be people who can exceed those numbers. They seem to be some of them seem to be Twitter employees, but the chart, which was really interesting, showed that Twitter usage, and especially list usage, is not a really heavily used feature among Twitter employees themselves.
Oh, really? That's all I use. I can't look at my Twitter stream unlisted. It's not good.
So for example, on this list, let me just find a good example. 51% of Twitter's own employees don't follow their official Twitter corporate list. 30% don't even subscribe to any lists at all.
Wow, that's
And
shocking.
I'm sorry. Let me phrase this.
Unlike the Googlers.
Who love Google Plus.
Of
Yeah.
Twitter's employees don't even create lists.
Wow, that's strange.
So, but you know, it explains why. Because it explains why the service is so feature poor, and why some of the things just don't work as well as they could. Because these people aren't using the service; they're not getting a really deep understanding.
They're not the power users.
How to improve things.
They're not the power users.
They're not power users. It's something which I've been saying for a while about certain Twitter executives who really didn't understand their own service.
Yep. So anyhow, did you know that there are simple changes coming to Twitter search? What's that?
Explain that one.
Yeah, I mean, go and explain that one. Pretty much what's going to happen is they're going to add videos and photos to the Twitter search. Feature rich. What?
Photos and videos to Twitter search?
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool.
All right.
So wait a second.
Next.
Wait a second. So when you do a search and the links come and tweets come up with the links, so replace the link with a thumbnail of the photo or video. Is that
Supposedly, yes. Feature rich.
Well, well, but that's a service that not the bulk of people I don't think actually use. Do we have any numbers on how many people actually use Twitter search?
I use it every now and then, but I don't know if we have actual numbers. I can look that up and put that in the show notes for later.
Yeah, that would be interesting because I actually.
I bet Hugo Chavez used his Twitter search.
Yeah, did you hear about this? Hugo Chavez, the ruler, the emperor, the dictator, the despot of Venezuela, had cancer treatments in Cuba and was running his government via Twitter.
Well, let's be honest, he actually wasn't running the government from Twitter, but he was.
Actually, he was. He was doing PR from Twitter, but he was actually tweeting.
Yeah.
Good thing he wasn't using LinkedIn.
Yeah, because LinkedIn, maybe people would start applying for jobs in the Venezuelan government. According,
really bad segue.
yeah, it was really bad. Yes.
I think the last 5 or 6 have been really bad, and we should apologize for that.
I apologize for this whole podcast because it's gonna be a freaking disaster.
Yeah, we're having fun, and you get to see us. So,
Exactly, but I'm not sure it's gonna be overmodulated, undermodulated, in between. I apologize profusely. I mean, that's normal. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Anyhow, we're having fun. Anyhow, LinkedIn is debuting embeddable job application tool for companies. So people want to get people to apply via jobs, to turn into Career Builder or Monster. Makes sense.
I think it's actually brilliant.
That brings us to
the picks of the week.
Wait a second. I think this actually deserves a little bit of discussion because this is actually a pretty big deal. The fact that they're allowing you to do apply directly from your profile.
That's great. It's awesome.
I think they should have had it a long time ago. So
They should have, but think about the broader implications. This is a move to do away with resumes.
Yeah.
If people discover that LinkedIn is being leveraged in this way, and if you send and apply for a job through LinkedIn through using your profile as your resume, if this gives you an edge, more people will not only come to LinkedIn to apply for jobs, but they'll also be using this feature quite a bit. It's going to do away a lot with the resumes. It's going to increase people's usage of LinkedIn in and of itself, and I think it's really a very interesting move.
Very cool. I think it's interesting as well. Now on to the picks of the week.
But you don't care.
I think you're.
Obviously, it's important to you, Neil.
No, I think it's neat. I think it's neat that you can do it now through LinkedIn, and I think it's going to be valuable. But I don't think it's going to kill their resume.
Does it kill Career Builder, Monster?
No, not even close.
But I think that's probably part
Will
of
it
the
eat part of it?
Maybe.
Right. What is it?
Who? Water?
What?
Huh?
Who's on first? Well, who's
Squirrel!
on anyway?
All right. Moving on, as people love, our fans love when I say moving on. I've got so much hate mail for
Why
that.
don't you guys go? Because I actually have a phone call I got to answer.
But Neil, it's your pick of the week time.
Yeah, my wife is calling. Hello.
You should mute
Hi,
your
honey.
phone. You should mute yourself.
I will.
Hi,
That's a
babe.
good idea. Learning how to use it.
Hey, the very first A2SM. All right. Well, Neil takes we'll focus on that on the stream. Neil's taking a phone call. Apparently, he has a very yellow phone holder. All right. Anyhow, Jody, what's your pick of the week?
Okay, my pick of the week is Guide Me, and it's kind of interesting. It was something that was written up on Mashable. Basically, what it does is it gives you an opportunity to build a local guide list, and also sends you deals that you actually want. You sign up, you can integrate it with your Facebook and your Twitter, and pretty cool. There's a link to it in the show notes, and I would suggest, I mean, it's still relatively new, so there's not as much, it's not as robust as I think it will be in the future, but it's kind of a twist on the local geo-targeted social media type applications, and I suggest you give it a try and check it out.
All right, that's guideme.com. My pick of the week, since Neil went black just now,
Bye, Neil.
yeah, bye Neil. He's still there, but he's just not
Maybe
there.
he just put something like in front of his...
No, you can mute your video actually. See, I muted my video just now.
Oh, come back.
I'm here. I'm still here. Hey, there's Neil.
Oh, he's back.
Hey Neil, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is a new plugin for Facebook called, let's remember again faster, Who is Live. And actually, it's not just Facebook, but this is sort of how they're promoting it. Do you remember there was a service called SideWiki?
Yes. Oh, SideWiki. That was disastrous.
Right. Was that a Google product?
That was Google.
Yeah, but the idea was pretty good that people could annotate a website.
It was terrible.
But anyway, my point is that this actually allows you to see who's visiting the website in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the problem
Your website or your Facebook?
Well, they're talking about Facebook, but the implication is that it could be used on any website whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. This is
So
interesting.
when you think about it from a customer service standpoint, it's actually pretty cool, especially or just a community standpoint. If you're visiting a site to meet other people who are visiting the site at the same time, and get conversations with, I think it's a really neat feature. The limitation is that you have to it only works with other people who have the plugin. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mm.
It only works with, I'm sorry?
It only works with people.
You both have to have the plugin to see each other. So that's an unfortunate limitation. But one of the cool things about it is that I'm sure this would be a feature that Facebook or Google might implement on their own. So since you're logged in, whenever you have the browser,
just use Google Plus and you can
hang out.
Yeah.
All right. So
I think the concept is cool. I don't like the idea that two people have to be logged in at the same time. And
well,
I think
because it's an add-on and they can't find you in any other way.
But I suspect that Google's going to add something like this anyway.
Yeah, and Facebook will on its own, and so will Twitter.
Well, Facebook kind of had that integration already, but maybe not as robust.
How did they have that integration?
Oh God, a year ago at least.
In what way?
The like when they added all the likes and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but this allows you to actually have conversations with people. It provides like a little chat window on the side of your screen, and you can actually see a list of who's there. If you're friends with them on Facebook, those people will be higher up, and you can have and interact with people directly.
Very cool. So my pick of the week, because you had me somewhere 13 minutes ago. I actually have three. Yeah, what's that?
Good.
I have 3 picks this week.
Not one pick.
No, this all has to do with Google Plus. So there's Chat Roulette, which is a Google Plus plugin to kind of you can press and enter a random hangout to meet people. And I'm kind of concerned about that for the Chat Roulette reasons. There's also a Hangout Auto Retry. It's Hangout Auto Retry. Try again. Is that
like dialing for dollars?
Essentially what it is a lot of people, well-known people like Scoble or Trey Ratcliffe, their Hangouts fill up really fast. But so instead of keep on hitting retry over and over and over again, you can have this auto redial essentially. And I was actually in the Hangout when the guy was making it live on the Hangout. So I downloaded it and it works really nice. And I'm credited in the comments for being on the Hangout. Go figure. And finally, there's a Hangout Finder for Google Plus. Essentially, it's a plugin that people can submit their Hangouts. Saying I'm going to hang out at this time. Here's the link to my profile. Come hang out. So
I like that.
It's not really working very well yet.
Have you looked at that? Because what they do is they list like you can specify a topic, you can specify a time. I like that idea. And
but then they have to record function.
I think there has to be more of that kind of thing built into the Google Plus interface itself.
Yeah, actually, there is. There actually is.
I think it'd be nice to be able to schedule things and have people
be there.
If you want to hop in with Scoble, or you want to hop in with Solace, or any of the people.
Or Jody Raines, for that matter.
Oh yeah, I've got people who want to hop there all the time.
Oh my God, I'm leaving that one alone.
Seth, only you.
Anyhow, all right, we have an announcement this week. I am leading a social media privacy class. It's being held through this new social startup called Skillshare, Skillshare.com. They're launching in Philadelphia on the 9th. So if you guys want to lead classes, please sign up. You can charge for it to take 15% of the proceeds. So on a $15 class, to take around. On a $20 class, to take around $3. Not a big deal. I'm holding a social media privacy class. It's being held at the Doylestown branch of Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. That's on August 17th. Now, I had sent out notes prior saying that it was going to be on the 8th, but scheduling conflicts and all that baloney happened, and it's now going to be held on the 17th at the Smith Barney, Morgan Stanley Smith Barney in Doylestown from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Get your tickets at gmwd.us/K5. That's the URL shortener I'm using for it. It's a one-time class. It's taught by your very own, yours truly, me. So
That's very cool.
bring your
So,
computer.
Come visit and help us tackle Seth.
Exactly.
If you're in
Bring your
Doylestown.
computers, people. Anyhow.
And Seth, I think Dynamite topic. I think you'll do an awesome job. And anybody who's in the Doylestown area, we highly recommend it.
Yeah, and tickets are $20.
And even if you think you know it, I guarantee Seth will teach you a couple new tricks.
Exactly, and you guys are welcome to come if you guys want to come.
Oh, thank you, Seth.
Anyhow.
I'm actually was waiting for the announcement on the new date so I can check my schedule.
Awesome. No pressure there with Neil Weiser looking over my shoulder. No. Anyhow, we want to hear from you guys. Yeah, no, like this, exactly.
Seth,
what?
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Please? Okay. Seth did this really, really cool thing, and
I
think it was brilliant. Yes, brilliant. But basically, he made short URLs for you to find.
Well, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. That's in.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to jump the gun.
She's excited about it, but I made short URLs for us. But okay. All right, you can call us if you want to interact with us. Call us. Somehow I'll figure out how to play a Google Voice audio through a Hangout if this still works. This might be disastrous, and I might not even be able to put this on. I'm still going to put this on our A2SM YouTube page, which is youtube.com/A2SM official. That's our YouTube page. But if it's terrible, I apologize profusely. Bear with us. I just figured out that the screen sharing program does not pick up the audio from the inside the computer. It picks up through the speakers that I hear. So I figured out. So I'll figure this stuff out. But maybe next week we're going to do a audio again.
Oh, you know what? I should have tried it with the audio hijack. I wonder if that would have picked it up.
It probably wouldn't have because you have to do it through Skype. I want to figure out how to do Skype.
No, it has multiple things that it can pick up from. It might.
Well, maybe we'll try that.
I'll have to find out. Okay.
We'll play with it offline. Anyhow, call us at 478-A2SM-118. That's country code 1 for everyone outside the country, which we have a few people out there. 1-478-A2SM-118, which translates to, and I looked this up beforehand, +1 478-227-6118. That is +1 478-227-6118. You can also email us at editors@a2sm.com. It's editors@a2sm.com. You can tweet us at A2SM, at Seth Goldstein, at Neil Weiser, at Sunswept. And we are on YouTube now. A2SM Official is our screen name on there. And what Jody wanted to tell everyone so much, so I'm actually focusing on Jody this whole time, not my picture. The whole time I was focusing on Jody making faces. Brilliant.
That's right, you can see me.
Exactly. We'll focus on Neil now. Neil, you're on the camera. No. Oh, God.
Mr. DeMille?
Oh, God. You're scaring people away. Anyhow, you can find us on Google+. There has been some controversy. There has been some controversy with the Google G+.2 URL shortener for your profile. So we have our A2SM.org shortener that we use internally for stuff. So if you want to find Neil on Google+, other than going to NEALWISER and searching for it on Google+, you can go to A2SM.org/NEAL. You can go find me at A2SM.org, not .com, .org. And /Seth, and you can do A2SM.org/Jody. Boy, I brutalized that. So anyhow, other than those places, Neil, where can we find the Weiser?
Oh, you can find me
That's perfect.
at Neil Weiser, NEALWISER, at Twitter, and neilweiser.com, and that's really all.
That was so funny. I clicked it right over to you, and you went like this. Whoosh! You came right on the screen. That's perfect. Jody, where can we find you?
Usually I'm hanging out at webmarcom.net or at my blog, webmarcom.net/blog.
There you go.
Sometimes at the A2SM Palace.
On Foursquare.
You can find me on Twitter as Sunswept. You can find me A2SM.org/Jody with a Y. And LinkedIn, Facebook.
Just go to our Google profile. Everything's on your Google profile.
It's in my Google profile.
Exactly. You can find me. I'm at Seth Goldstein on Twitter. That's at SETHGOLDSTIN. I'm still focusing on Jody, not me. Let me change that over there. Anyhow, hi. You can find me at Seth Goldstein on Twitter. I should just said that. You can find me at goldsteinmedia.com, which is my online site for my business. Online site, sure. And you can, someone's typing, and you can hear it really
That was
bad.
Neil.
Neil.
I could see it.
I lost. I have this thing that popped up that says awake check.
Yeah, it did that to me during the podcast too. Anyhow, you can also find me at SethGoldstein.net. You can find me at A2SM.org/Seth, or you can also go to God Almighty. You can go to SethGoldstein.me. It takes you to the same place. So anyhow, Neil, take us out.
We are
Please.
such children.
All right. This has been a disastrous
This
edition.
This has been the Addicted to Social Media
Contest.
Contest.
I'm not focusing on. I'm not focusing on you, Han.
Where what you see is what you get. So,
Oh
thank you
my.
for joining us.
Not all the time.
We'll do off
Oh, Jody.
sometime soon.
And who are you?
And it would be really great if some people wanted to join us, perhaps on a future hangout. Let us know, and we'll see if we can schedule that. It might be a lot of fun, or it might not. So,
Or maybe
we'll see
not.
how it
All
goes.
right. So who are you?
I already did that.
You did. I didn't hear it.
Neil Weiser.
You did.
Jody.
Again, I'm still Neil Weiser.
Jody.
I'm Jody Rains.
And I'm Seth Goldstein. Signing off.
Howdy,
Aloha.
Oh, that was disastrous.
No, it wasn't. It was fun.
No, I haven't even looked at the recording yet. Overmodulation to the high heavens.
Well, you. Yeah.
I'll figure it out.